Hi, my name is Terry Lee from Sweet Pea Papers and the Sweet Pea Papers Facebook group. This is video 8 in our Wizard School series, and I'm using a Victoria Designs kit called Wizard School, and I don't believe it's available anymore from them, so I'm sorry about that. I'm using up all these kits that I have by them. You'll notice I've been doing a lot of Victoria Design kit projects in a row. And I love them, and I want to use them and get my money's worth out of them because they're also kind of expensive. So this is page 14, I believe. Yep, see, that's why we write it on the back. And when we left, we had our 5-pocket envelope done, and I didn't have any ephemera or anything in there yet. So here's our card with our tab and our charm. It's another key. We've got keys all through it. And when you take it out, my fingers were on it. When you take it out, you've got a card here. And then we've got our top pocket, our bottom tuck. Come here, you. Our bottom tuck. I even put my return address there at Wizard School. Anyway, I'm so funny. Let's just do that. Okay. And then we've got our 2 little pockets on either side. Okay, so that's what I did off camera. I just did the ephemera and the card. Okay, so this page is done. Then, as a surprise, because, you know, I like to do you guys favors, I went ahead and did page 15. And, you know, I'll show you and you'll see why. All I did was add a belly band. There was no reason to show you how to do that on camera. You know how to use a belly band. This is a piece of ephemera that looks exactly like this in the kit, so I just used it. These are our 3 little file folders that I wanted to make sure to use, and I just wrote potions, magic, and chants on there. Okay, so that just goes there like that. It's a little loose right now, but it'll be tighter when it's glued down on the page. And then this just says spell book. Just a couple pieces of ephemera that I put together. So page 15 is done. So that leaves us with page 16. And that's the only one we have left to do. So page 16 is going to be easy. It's just going to be an expandable folder with a flap. And we're not going to put a policy closure on it. I had an idea. You know how that works. So this is what I want to do. I want to put a strap on it instead. And we're going to use Velcro dots to close it, not magnets. And I'll tell you why. Because if you get some stuff in the pocket, then that's going to misalign your strap with your magnet and it won't close. So what I'm going to do is we're going to put 2 Velcro dots on here and 2 on here. Then you can hook it wherever you want depending on what you have in the pocket. What do you guys think about that? All right, so let's do it. I've cut them to the width, and that's all, not the length or anything. I think you've got I went ahead and rounded this corner and I inked it. I inked the sides of this. Did I ink it? No, I didn't ink this because I wasn't sure. But I went ahead and inked the sides and rounded the bottom of this so you didn't have to watch me do that mess. So all we need to do is figure out the length on this, and I think it's actually about the right length because we're going to have a 1/2 inch scored. Let's go ahead and score the 1/2 inch on here. That way we can fold it and take a look at it. Okay. way we can see how long this is. We can see how far up we want our pocket to go. Let's put it to about there. Looks like we only need to cut about 1/4 of an inch off and then score it at 1/2 inch too. Let's do that, and then we'll take a look at it and see what we think. Okay, I was just sitting here thinking to myself, I'm always trying to think of completely different pages every time. I've got 550 videos up, and that's a lot. So I think that I should be a little bit easier on myself. Thinking up page designs. Well, I mean, policy closure pockets or pockets like this. You do more than once, obviously. Maybe even once a project, because they're nice to have. Okay. Why is that crooked? It's not. Yes, it is. Mm-hmm. It is. Looks like I scored it crooked. Oh my. Let's make another score line. We'll just go up about 1/8. And we'll discover whether the paper's cut crooked or not. You know, I think the paper's cut crooked. No, maybe not. I don't know why I'm going through all this. It's just a scrap. Okay, let's try that. Much better. Much better. Okay, so let's ink this. It's still up kind of far, isn't it? Let's cut 1/4 of an inch off. I think I like that. Okay, so we're going to ink it. Sorry about having to ink this on camera. I wonder if I should round these corners. I think that would be kind of nifty neato. Pocket look a little nicer. I made the little expandable pieces already. I think we've done something like this earlier in this project, but if we didn't, all you do is take a 1-inch wide piece of paper. I'm using coffee dyed paper because it's easy to fold, and it's just typing paper that I dyed with coffee. Hence the name coffee dyed paper. An inch wide piece, you fold it in half, and then you fold each half back up on itself, and it makes a little W. So we're going to glue this on first. And we're doing the pocket first to determine the length of the flap, but I think I'm going to like it the length that it is. Can't believe I'm hungry. I ate a tomato sandwich earlier. It was so good. You have to get this everything bagel seasoning. Oh, it's everything that you would put on a bagel all together in one seasoning bottle. It's got those little sesame seeds and the little poppy seeds, or not sesame seeds, but poppy seeds and different stuff all in there, all in the one bottle. All right, now what's going on? Oh, I'm not on the right. All right, I'm going to quit talking for a minute and start looking and seeing what I'm doing here. I don't have enough glue on here that I can slide it around. I think that's my problem. There we go. Now, let the smearing commence. Anyway, so I eat this. Oh, it doesn't matter. It's the same on both sides. I'm looking at it going, now wait a minute. So I eat this tomato sandwich for breakfast with this everything bagel seasoning on it. And it gives me a stomachache. So I'm surprised that I am hungry, because I still kind of have a stomachache. How can that be? I do not know. That still looks a little off to me. Okay. Then you take these you want the pointed side out. Of the W. The pointed side, you want it to face out. So I'm going to put this about here. And just put it right along the edge. Slow and steady wins the day. And it's better to have it a little bit in than to have it stick out. And then we're just going to line them up. And you definitely don't want it all the way down. Okay, we just put glue on here. Kinds of glue fuzzies on there. And glue on here. And we're going to glue it down. And that gives us our expanding pocket. So we can pull it out a little bit to put stuff in it, especially because I put them down. I might have made them a little short. You don't really want to be able to crank back on it like that, but it'll work. It'll work. Okay, so now I think that's a perfect length. I think that'll be fine. I don't think I have to do anything to it. Okay, so then let's say we want our strap to come down. We want it to go that far. We want to be able to adjust it, so we want to leave enough room. Okay. Now let's cut this off and give it enough room to glue. Let's hope that's where we want it. We'll just do the same as we did the pocket. We're just going to glue this on. Then when we get done with this, I'm going to pause the video, and then I'm going to get the stuff ready for the cover, and we're going to start the cover. I wanted to make a separate video of just the cover, but I really don't want to make a 15-minute video for this, and that's all. Because we're about to be done. Okay. That was a bit of a rescue, wasn't it? And I like it with that. Do I like it with the, yeah, because I don't like this side at all. That's that one brown paper that the only paper I didn't like in the kit. Let's glue this on. Looks like it has a nose. You know what we need to do is we need to, the thing is though, if we glue this to this, then that completely defeats our purpose, doesn't it? Of it being able to, no, we want to glue it to that. It's the other way. Other way looks terrible. You know what we're going to do? We're going to just glue it right here. And we're going to slide something through there because that's the way it goes. That's the way my mind thinks. So let's make a little pencil mark here, a little pencil mark here. We know where to put the glue. And then we'll erase the pencil marks. We'll just glue that right on as a belly band. How about that? Oh, goodness. That was loud. I don't know how loud it was for you, but it was really loud for me. And who cares about you guys anyway? I do. Of course I do. Okay. So now we're just going to take the two Velcro dots. Oh, and look, I put the bottom at the top. Oh, well. The bottom of the paper has the curl on it. It curls up, and the top of the paper doesn't. The bottom of the paper has the curl. Alright, this is page 16. So this is signature 2, video 8, and then left or right. Okay. So now when these are actual Velcro dots, so I can call them Velcro dots. Oh, I had a little bit of glue there. So they're kind of stuck together in pairs. So I'm just going to leave them stuck together in pairs. And take them off the plastic that way. I don't know if it's the way they're, well, it's got to be the way the cutter cuts them. So we're just going to leave it just like that. And then we're going to put it where the clear side is down on here. Oops, not there though. Well, that worked and everything, except I pulled it too tight. Just like that. Now, we will decorate this somehow. I've got something, I'm sure, that I can put on there. Ink that. No, that looks terrible. I'll think of something. I'll find some ephemera out of the kit and put something on there. And then we'll make a little something, or I'll make a little something to go through that belly band. Too bad it isn't bigger. I could put this in there. Anyway, that's done. So I'm going to pause the video and get the paper ready for the cover, and then I will be right back. Okay? Alright, so while I was gone, I did a few things in the magic of video. You know what I mean? It's already done for you. I went through, and on the second signature, I went ahead and glued the pages on to the cream colored paper. Now, the one thing I want to mention is the thing that drives me nuts, and maybe I should learn how to use the other type of eyelet, is that when you put it on the right way for the card, you know, to be on the page, you flip it over and it's the wrong way for your book. I don't know, you know, if you don't do it that way, then when you get to the page, then it's the wrong way on the page. So if you're just putting tabs on your book that stick out and not on cards, then you can do them all the same way and it'll be fine. Just a side note. I went through and made sure that everything had a card. So I found that I didn't have cards here, so I stuck them in. I really like that image. I hated to cover it, but such is life. Okay, so I did that. I went through and I did this on the coffee dyed paper, and I printed that page out that I cut apart. I printed it out on coffee dyed paper. So these are like little pieces of stationery in here, and I just stuffed it full, and it didn't make any more thickness to the page. Then on the back side I did this. This seems to want to flip open because it's so heavy, but the magnet is holding. But and then we go through. Then on this side of the coffee dyed paper, I put the 3 circles that I had, or 4 circles that I had left, and I just glued half of them, you know, half of the width of each one, and made a tuck spot out of it. Let's see if I glued this in. There we go. So anyway, I did that something all the way through. Now you can still write on this. Plus you can write on this. Plus it can be used as a bookmark. Okay, so I went through and did all that, and I glued, like I said, I glued each one of the pages we had made to the corresponding page. They did end up being in order, just like we'd made them. Oh, and I stuck this little, I took 2 pieces of manila folder, and I had punched 1-inch circles out, and I punched a 1-inch circle out of this paper. It was a different one. It was a scrap. But anyway, and then I stuck it on there like it was a fastener. Okay? So then I took, and starting for the cover, I just left Signature 1 labeled Signature 1. I had Signature 2 labeled, and then I realized there's only 2. So I really didn't need to label Signature 2. Anyway, so I took them and just laid it like this and let it kind of spring open. Then I measured it, and it came up with, I don't know why I'm doing it sideways, and it came up with 2 1/4. So then I added a 1/4, so it's 2 1/2 for the spine, which is bigger than I thought it was going to be. It's going to be one of those that when you sew it in, the signatures are going to look kind of far apart where they're sewn in, but then the rest of it will be filled in nicely. Okay, so then we can set this aside, and we're not going to do the whole cover in this. We don't have enough time. We're just going to get started, and then I'm going to stop the video, and then we're going to finish up in the next video. Okay, so setting these aside, I took some, and it's not, this isn't craft paper, it's 1 thickness thicker. It's, there's a name for it, and I forget it every single time. It's like the thickness of a cereal box. So you could take a cereal box, and I probably should double this, but I don't mind if it's a little squishy. But if you want a solid hard book, then you're going to want to glue 2 pieces of this together and make it thicker and more sturdy. So I measured the book, and it's 8 1/2, right? 8 1/2 tall by 5 1/2 wide, which is half of 8 1/2 by 11. 11 1/2 is 5 1/2. And then I gave it a little bit all the way around, a little bit more probably than I should have. I gave it a little bit extra because of the tabs sticking out. I didn't necessarily want them sticking way out of the cover. So this is going to go in like this. And let's see what I ended up with. I ended up with 6 1/8 is what I ended up with. So this is 8 1/2 by 6 1/8. And then I think I went with 2 1/4. I don't remember what we just said. 2 1/2. Went with 2 1/2 by 8 1/2, and that's going to be the spine. And that just seems big to me. But I guess it's not. So I went with 2 1/2 and not 2 1/4. Okay, so the next thing you're going to need to do is do the paper for your cover. So I'm going to take these 3 pieces and set them over here for just 1 second. So I'm doing paper and not cloth. So I took 3 8 1/2 by 11s. It's just enough that you can't do it with 2. And I glued them together. And then we're going to take a look at how I do it. Now, you know that there's going to be an inch all the way around. I guess I should have mentioned that. You're going to make your paper an inch bigger all the way around so that you have paper to fold over, you know, onto the inside of your cover. Now, that means you're going to have to cut a bunch of this. So, oh, this is what I ended up with for the inside cover on both sides. And then this is going to be the cover. And this is going to be the back cover. Okay, now I used the 8.5 by 11s, the portrait pages, on purpose because the cover's a little bit bigger than the papers. So if you just take one of these, which you can, and I do it all the time, and put it on your cover, then it's going to look small compared to the pages in your book, right? Because your cover's a little bit bigger than your pages normally are. So what I decided to do this time, and I have never done this before, is I'm going to take and I'm going to measure, once I have the cover where I want it, the pieces, and measure the size for the pictures then. So we'll see how that works. Let's see. The worst thing that can happen is that I have to print it again and I have to make a new cover. I've already been asleep for an hour and a half, and then I woke up and I decided to do this. And it's 9 o'clock at night. So, oh, I guess I was asleep for an hour. Because I take medicine at night and it makes me sleepy, and I have to take it at a certain time, so I end up going to bed really early. It's probably why I'm up at 2 in the morning. Anyway, so I take an inch and I measure all the way across at an inch. Let me cover this up. So I'm going to go an inch, That's what I like about these rulers. If you're using a regular ruler, they usually have a little bit of a gap at the bottom, so make sure that you're lining it up correctly. You'll have a little bit, whoops, they'll have a little bit hanging off. But with these Tim Holtz rulers, the 0 starts right at the edge of the ruler. I really like that. Okay, so I'm going to go 1 inch. How many times am I going to draw that? This helps me personally make it straight. Because this gives us our baseline to go ahead and keep our pieces lined up. I'm just going to draw a line. You're not going to see any of this anyway. All the way across. This one looks high. You can overlap at this point and just draw your straight line. We're going to be cutting all this off anyway. Then I go in an inch over here, just you can figure out what I'm doing. Got glue in here and it keeps catching. It's catching. I have the glue and it's catching. inch. That was a play on the flu, in case you're wondering about my bad joke. The other thing about the Tim Holtz ruler is it's got metal on this side, so you can cut with it, but it's also really thick to kind of measure and draw with, so you should use the other side. And that's your ruler lessons for today. Okay, so we've got where our pieces cross. So now we're going to take the pieces and glue them on. And then I think what I'll do is I will do one side of, why does that not look straight? If I do that like that, it's not straight there. Alright, well I definitely want them straight down, or straight across the bottom. So anyway, you're going to glue each piece. I don't know why I'm turning it over. It doesn't make any difference, does it? To the paper. And you're going to want to leave a gap in between. The pieces, in between the pieces, sorry. I got lost in thought about my glue. And again, most people put a whole bunch of glue on this, but it's not going to go anywhere. You're going to wrap the corners around. I mean, I make sure it's glued down. But you're going to wrap the corners around and put a ton of glue on it. And so it's not going to go anywhere. But a lot of people like the security of having the extra glue. And, you know, I don't mind that. You know what? I had trouble last time with the paper coming loose. That's why. So I'm just going to do a little bit down the center so there's no air. That was what I had. That was why I was going to change it. That's why they do it. That was what I said to myself. That's why they do it. So I'm going to go an inch over. That gnat's probably going to come back. I've discovered the best way to catch a gnat is to open the Fabri-Tac. Somehow they're drawn to the scent. All right, now I want to go over, I don't know if I want to go over a full quarter. I think I'm going to go over an eighth. Maybe it's supposed to be an eighth. A quarter seems like a lot. And I know this seems like an extra step, and it is, but I have trouble gauging. So I'm just showing you what I do so that if you have trouble kind of getting them the right distance apart, that still seems awful big as well. You want enough room though. I had tried to make a spacer. The only reason that this, most people just glue them and put them down, but I always have an issue with not having the right space. So I thought I would try measuring it like that, but you can take some of your, what did I do with it? Oh, here it is. You can take your pieces and use them as a spacer. I think I'll do that. I glued 4 of them together. So I guess we'll try that. This you definitely want to glue every last bit of it. I don't know why I'm off camera. probably need to move my camera back. I have the camera set to go straight down to make it better for you to be able to see everything, but sometimes I think it's too close. I may crank it back a little bit. I know it's kind of weird when I set my bottle down, you know, you're looking right down inside the bottle, but people with phones, you know what I mean, they film straight down, so I don't know. I'm confused. Of course, I live in the land of confusion, so, or state of confusion, I guess is what the saying is. So let's give it a nice gap. That should work. It's not that thick of paper. Look, that doesn't look even. I had the hardest time cutting this. You would think that it would be easy. Yeah, that's a definite difference. I must have this crooked. Yeah, there's a definite crookedness. I have to look and see. I mean, if this is crooked, then it's crooked, and I'm going to have to do it again anyway, so let's get her done and then see what it looks like. Because this is the size that our cover's going to be. So it seems to me like you should be able to measure the cover image against this while it's laying flat. And then once again, me remembering, it's only happened to me once, but I don't want to take a chance. Normally the paper doesn't, you know, does not come away from the cardboard, but let's go ahead and do a thin bit anyway, just in case. Never hurts, just makes it stink a little bit more. Okay. Actually kind of wish I'd have given it that much, but let's make it even. Wow, that glue in the middle grabbed already. There we go. That's why I put the extra on the corners, so I can kind of slide it around. Now you can see this side is still bigger. Could have almost done it. Almost. So then we need an inch all the way around, which the top and the bottom we've got the best we can. The top is not going to be an inch. And then we'll be able to cut the rest of it off. So we'll be able to cut all this off. Now this is so thin that I am going to cut it off on here. Because I cannot cut in a straight line. Apparently I can't draw in a straight line either. So we had this much left over, almost a full sheet. Okay, so I want to do this crazy like. Probably, I've never seen anybody do it this way, and I've never done it this way, so I guess we'll find out together whether it'll work. But we want to have that little bit all the way around, right? And this is our cover, so I really don't see why this wouldn't work. Oh, I almost did it. This is the center. So I want that to be in the center. I mean, the image is in the center. Then we want that little bit of a gap. So we're going to cut it in a little bit. And then in a little bit. This is just pencil, so I can erase it. It's not cardstock, it's not craft paper, it's something else. We're going to do the same thing at the top and the bottom. So we're going to bring this here where we want it. Then we want the image to be in the center. So I'm just eyeballing it, which works out so well. We'll leave our little bit of a gap. And a little bit of a gap, so we're going to do it in a little bit, or up a little bit, and down a little bit from the edge. Then we will be able to do our back and inside covers using the measurements from this piece. Oh, look at that with the spider hanging down right there. There it is. Now, let's see if that's in the center. Nope. It's off that way. All right, we know this is the correct size. So obviously we're going to have to do a reprint because my eyeballing it was off a little bit. You know what I could do? No, that won't work. I was thinking I could put some kind of a something along here that would make it look in the center, but I'm just going to print out another piece. But this is the correct size. So we've got that to go by. See, that's exactly the right size. I did get that part right. So we can use this to measure the size for the other three pieces that we need, the front and the back of these. Okay? So let's just set this aside. And now we're going to trim the corners. And then I think we'll do the next video. I'm going to go in towards the corner and then back out again. See that shape? So you don't want to go all the way to the point. You want to have a little bit of material there so that it's covered. I have a new gizmo that's supposed to do it for me, but you know, see, I actually could have done without this little piece. This would have been enough to go over. And I don't really want that seam right there, so I'm gonna cut that off. Is that gonna give me enough? And see, it gives me smaller, but we're not using very thick cardboard. So I could have done it with 2 pieces. For this size. It's a little bit far away. Nope, I'll just mess it up if I go back. If I go back in. So we'll do this. And then we'll do the rest of it in the next video. Okay? All right, so that's all the farther we've gotten, or that's how far we've gotten. And when we come back, we'll wrap the corners and we'll put the papers on, and that'll be the cover made. And then we will poke the holes. Okay? All right. So that's it for this video, and I'll see you in the next video, and that will be just a second for you and a day for me. Okay, bye-bye.